back to another episode of So My Wife's a Witch,
a Bewitched Deep Dive podcast.
Today we are so excited to be covering episode 3, aka
It Shouldn't Happen to a Dog.
Yes.
And the episode premiered on October 1st, 1964, and it was written by Jerry Davis.
Jerry.
Some little things that happened on October 1st, 1964. The songs are the same that we covered last time on the charts. But just a few important historical things that happened on that day is the San Francisco cable cars are declared a National Historic Landmark.
Oh.
Very fun. Japan's first bullet train departs Tokyo for Osaka. And the trip was 6.5 hours. And then with the opening of the bullet train, it got down to 4 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And that was 1964, and we still don't have such a thing here.
We need to catch up.
Yeah.
That's on my bucket list to use one of those bullet trains.
Yeah.
So that's so cool.
And then last thing is the free speech movement started at University of California, Berkeley.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I love this. Wow, looking back through time.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm very excited for this episode because I feel like it's the first one where I don't know how to feel about Darrin this episode. He disappoints me a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't like because it's the introduction as well to a recurring Darrin's boss, Larry Tate.
Yeah.
And Larry's not too great in this episode either. So, but yeah, not one of my favorite episodes. I'll be honest with you. But we're gonna make it as fun as possible, and we are so happy that you're along for the ride.
Yes, happy November, everybody! Woo woo! The spooky season's over, and now we're moving into the colder months.
No, the spooky season is never over.
It's always alive in our hearts.
Exactly.
Yes.
You just have to feel the darkness within you.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Yes. I love this. It's funny because this episode opens without the narrator.
Yes.
First time we're getting an episode intro without the narrator. And Samantha's moving about her brand new kitchen.
She is.
She got an upgrade. It's gorgeous. And she's a lot more successful this time around than she was at the start of the last episode.
Right. So we meet her and she's cooking an entire feast, it seems, which is definitely an improvement from the last episode where she was burning toast and setting things on fire and all that fun stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Is it supposed to show that she's growing as into this typical housewife role and she's getting more confident with her tasks and doing them the right way or the normal way? I think so, but I also feel like if that was truly the intention, she probably should have worn mittens when she was pushing the pan back into the oven.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll definitely insert a clip, but there's a moment when Elizabeth Montgomery just, touches a supposedly hot pan to push it back into the oven. It's so cute. But we know that she's distracted because Andorra pops in, right? In the little, what do they call those that houses used to have? It had the little accordion window things, and you could close them and open them like a little window into the kitchen.
Oh, like a little separation blind situation.
Yeah, so their kitchen has that, and it's always open, but that's where Andorra appears.
Elegant as always.
Yes, and just again, we've the same trend that we've seen from the first episode. Why are you going through all that trouble? What are you doing?
Right. Yeah, she makes quite the entrance, and Samantha's like, oh yeah, we learned that there's a dinner party happening tonight, and it's very important because Darrin has this big client he's trying to impress.
Yeah, so Samantha tells Andorra that McMahon and Tate, the firm that Darrin works for and his bosses, wants wants Samantha and Darrin to put on a dinner party to impress this new client, so they can, schmooze him into signing with their agency.
And she begs her mother not to come, and she says, I hope you won't show up at the party tonight. And Dora's like, why should I? I'm only your mother. I won't be around forever. And then Samantha's like, wanna bet? She gives a little cheeky smirk to the camera. And I love this moment. Yeah, it's very sweet. And then it goes straight into Darrin at work. And then we go straight to Darrin's office, where we meet Rex Barker, played by John Lepsetter Jr.
Nice.
That's his full name. I have some information on that actor. Do we want to hear this now?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully he's a lot more fun than Mr. Barker.
Yes. Okay, I think so. Yeah, so he was born in Newark, New Jersey on September 18th, 1920. He actually got expelled from high school for fighting. And then he went on to fight as a professional boxer under the name Johnny Costello.
So you got to put it to good use.
Yeah, right?
All that aggression you're feeling. Yeah.
Yes. They said,
get paid for it.
Yeah. They said, you got a mean right hook. Let's put you in the ring. But he didn't make a lot of money off of it. So he wasn't really pursuing it as a career after a little while. He also worked as a nightclub bouncer, tugboat hand, and a lifeguard before joining the Navy in 1938. And then he went on to be a paratrooper in the Army during World War II. And it was actually in 1944, on the eve of D-Day, he was on a nighttime practice jump in England when he landed in a tree, shattered his leg, and then was in the hospital for 8 months, just recovering. And it was during that time that he read a play, a Clifford Odette play, and he decided to become an actor. So that's his origin story. And then after leaving the Army, he studied acting in New York on the GI Bill, and he landed a few small roles before his breakthrough in 1957 as juror number 7 in 12 Angry Men.
Oh.
Classic.
Yes.
And I was looking through because I couldn't remember the jurors who were really the leads in that, and it's juror 8 who is the one who's on the side of the defendant, and then juror number 3 is the one who's like very angry about it, and he's finally like the last one to say not guilty. But juror number 7 doesn't really stand out in this movie, not gonna lie to you.
Oh well, they had to fill,
Yeah, right. They had
needed jurors,
other people in there, right, who were conflicted about the ruling. And then he went on to guest star in many TV shows over the years, winning a Primetime Emmy for his supporting role in the drama Brian's Song. He retired from acting in 2000, and then he passed away in 2006 in New York at the age of 85.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's my little ditty on the actor who plays Rex Barker.
Yeah, it sounds like he had lots, especially before he started acting, lots of adventures, so
lots of life in him, before he became an actor. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So we learned that Mr. Barker is like the owner, like the head of a baby food company. And so he's like trying to get these ideas, or like Flo, like talking to Darrin about them. And Darrin is just being like kind of honest, like not playing into Mr. Barker's hand, right? Just because he wants the account. Like, he's like, well, I still want it to be good. Yeah, Mr. Barker says, like, at one point, just talking to Darrin about it, like, he's like, oh, it's so good, you'd hate to give it to your child, or something.
Right? As if it's, like, going to waste if you give it to the kid, because the kid won't be able to appreciate it.
Yeah, so, of course, Darrin's like, I mean, yeah, but let's try to rephrase that. And we can see that Mr. Barker does not like Darrin, like, pushing back, right?
Yeah.
He wants like a yes man.
It's funny because like he hired Darrin to help him sell this product and to make it shine. Mm-hmm. And yet he doesn't want to hear anything Darrin has to say about it. And he's crossing a lot of boundaries. It's interesting to see him interact with Darrin here and then to interact with Samantha later.
Mm-hmm.
But he's sitting on his desk. He's he's kind of asking him questions, telling him you like to change my ideas, don't you? You can tell he's kind of testing the power dynamics here with Darrin, and Darrin's not really giving him anything. But Barker doesn't push. He Darrin tries to show him the mock-ups that they have of the design, I assume, for the cans. And Barker's like, well, I don't have time right now, so I'll look at this later and I'll see you at the party tonight. And he just takes the whole book with him.
Yeah, he storms out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's mad.
Yeah.
That Darrin, is not I guess the people he's used to.
Right.
Him.
Yeah.
But my favorite is, did you write down what the flavor baby food is?
No, I didn't. But that's why you did.
Yes.
And we compliment each other so well.
Okay. So the flavor of baby food that they keep saying in this scene is strained banana and squash with buttered beef hearts.
Buttered beef hearts.
Yeah. So I guess sauteed in butter?
It just brings to mind something that's glistening and gross, if I'm honest. It doesn't sound appetizing to me whatsoever.
I mean, butter can make most anything taste good, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, with the banana, I don't. Yeah. But he thinks it's really good.
Yeah.
He's like, have you tried it? He asks Darrin if he's tried the baby food.
Yeah, exactly. Really? And that's how we get that quote that he loves. But yeah, and I just have written here from this scene, these are just my random thoughts. Mm-hmm. But I wrote, Mr. Barker is a gaping asshole.
Yes, he is. From the jump, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also found it interesting that they redecorated Darrin's office from the first episode when we see it. The window behind the desk is the same and the shelving is similar.
Yeah.
But the whole setup is completely different. And he even had a secretary in the first one, but we don't really see any of her. And then the name on the door, the plate said he was a VP of McMahon and Tate, but now it just says that he's an account exec.
Yeah, he's been demoted.
Yeah.
But he still has a big ass office.
Yes, which is nice.
But yeah, this is after the pilot, when it went to series, I guess this is the standard Darrin office, right?
One of the little changes that I'm sure we'll notice throughout
Yeah. So and then we meet one of my favorite recurring characters, Larry Tate, who is Darrin's boss, and he's incredible. I love him. Of course, we'll do a little deep dive on him as well, because he had an amazing career as well. But yeah, so we meet him and he's like, where's Barker going? Did he sign? Did he like the ideas, And Darrin's like, no, I mean, he said we would look at him at the party. So, but Larry's questioning, well, we are going to have a wonderful, high class or whatever, experience, a dinner tonight, right? And trying to hammer into Darrin, how important it is that this dinner goes well. So, they can get the account.
Yes.
Cause it's expensive or, it'll bring in a lot of money for them, right?
We are going to have a marvelous culinary experience, topped off with a fine old brandy, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, building the pressure on the Stevenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make this a wonderful, flawless evening. And then we get straight into the party, and you see that it's quite extravagant, and everyone's having a good time, and the house is full of people, very different from last episode when we saw it, without any furniture or anything in it, and now it's got a whole occasion occurring. And we meet Barker's date, Babs.
Babs, yes. I was trying to think. I didn't write it down, and I was like, what's her name?
Yes.
Yes, so she's so cute, has a gorgeous dress on, but she's supposed to be which, I mean, she is kind of a little bit, but we're supposed to know, he's this older man, and he has this gorgeous blonde, I wouldn't say airheaded, she's just a normal woman, right?
Yeah, but she's a little too cheerful for her own good.
Yeah.
she's saying how your wife's a witch, and he's like, what? And she's like, she did this whole thing with no help, and Rex always says to me, like, what does she say? I wrote it down. Oh, she says how he'll comment on her cooking, and how he said it would take 6 weeks and 12 servants and still wouldn't turn out right. So it's like she can't do anything right. But she's smiling the whole way through it, like, oh, he's so silly. And I also want to point out that there is actually a servant that comes out in the backyard later on in the episode.
Well,
so
she runs around inside too.
Oh, okay.
So we see her several times. There's no mention of her. There's nothing. She's just there.
Yes.
So yeah, Babs. Samantha does have help.
Yes, a single helper.
Yeah.
Who's running around.
In a little traditional maid outfit as well.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, so yeah, we Babs talks to Darrin, and then we cut over to Mr. Barker and Larry, and Mr. Barker immediately becomes, shows who he really is, and comments on Samantha and how she's like,
it's gross. He says, I haven't had a chance to look her over. Ew. And then he goes on to say, so after Samantha comes over, she eventually comes over because she's trying to get Mrs. Tate a glass of brandy.
Yes. So Louise Tate, who's Larry Tate's wife, is also at the party, and this is the first time we meet her. But she becomes a recurring character as well. So
yes,
I love her.
Very beloved. I'm excited. And she goes over to grab her some brandy, and that's of course where Larry and Rex are congregating. And Rex immediately hones in on her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm just getting this for, Mrs. Tate. And she turns to go, and he grabs her, and he's like, oh, well, bring this to your wife, won't you? And he hands it to Larry, and Larry walks off. And then he's like, hey, well, tell me about yourself. Why don't we go for a walk? And she's like, I'm hosting a party. Look around you. Yeah, I'm busy, and I'm doing it basically by myself. Basically by myself. And he's like, well, I'm a guest of your party too. Why aren't you prioritizing me?
Yeah, you haven't paid me any attention.
So all the men in this episode are trying to tell Sam what to prioritize, and it got on my nerves at a point.
Yeah.
But she's eventually like, oh, okay. And she walks away, and she just kind of brushes it off.
Yeah.
And he goes to down his brandy as if he's going to follow her. And the way after he downs it and watches her go, and he just kind of nods his head to the side and says something disgusting.
No, so this is the first instance. This eventually becomes Larry Tate's catchphrase of the show, son of a gun. But
yeah.
Larry Tate never says it in a creepy way while watching Samantha walk away. He just kind of says it to himself under his breath, son of a gun.
Yeah. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
And we hate it.
Yeah, but we can also tell Sam knows immediately what kind of guy this is, right?
Yeah. And she recognizes that she needs to keep him at a distance without offending him because he's so important. Yeah. And then we see Sam in the kitchen, and she's pouring ice into an ice bin, and Darrin actually comes in, and he comes up behind her and touches her back, and she jumps when he touches her. And I noticed that because, especially coming right out of the last interaction, you got to wonder if she's would Rex have the balls to follow me into the kitchen?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting that she chose, the actress chose to jump in that moment, being surprised that he comes in behind her.
Yeah.
But then she sees it's him, and he talks about how important this is and how everything's going so well. And he says how she has to be perfect as well. And she's like, oh, you can't be serious. And he's like, Barker's very impressed with you. You married me. Therefore, it follows I must be something very special. And so just building this pressure on her to make Mr. Barker happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though that puts her, which Darrin doesn't know at the moment, but that puts her in a very uncomfortable situation, right?
Yes.
yes, like physically in a weird situation, but also like
mentally.
Right.
Yeah, to where she's putting pressure on herself to impress him and make sure that he is happy, no matter how that's making her feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then looks like the party's starting to wind down a little bit. People are starting to kind of leave. But of course, there's one person that's still there. So we go outside to the patio area, and Sam and the unnamed, faceless maid are cleaning up and picking up plates and cups from outside. And then he just like jumps out of the shadows from the little gazebo that's out there and startles her. And immediately starts to try to get away, like, oh, I need to keep cleaning, like, and he just goes into the you haven't paid any attention to me all night.
Ugh.
I want some time with you. And
she keeps like saying suggestions of excuses to go inside, like, oh, let me get you another drink. And he's like, oh, I won't drink any more, but I don't drink any less, and like makes a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, well, it's chilly. Let's go inside. I'm cold. And he's like, oh, well, now wait a minute. Like completely disregarding any of her feelings or her wants in that moment, or if she's comfortable.
And like grabs her around the waist and pulls her close. And she's like, like threatens him basically.
Yeah.
As she should.
Yeah. She's like, I'm warning you, my husband's a very jealous man. And then he goes, I don't blame him, so am I. What? Who cares what you are, dude?
Yeah.
And I remember when we watched this, like the moment he actually touches her, like it infuriated me as an audience member.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of like, how dare you touch her? How dare you touch him?
So he's like being like getting rough with her, and she keeps saying, trying to get away from him. But then Sam sees Darrin kind of looking for her, because we cut back inside, and Darrin's like, have you seen Samantha? Like he asked Larry, and Larry's like, no, like, maybe like I haven't seen Mr. Barker either, kind of thing. And so Darrin goes outside to look for Samantha, and sees her like kind of, but you can't see the way it is, like you can't see Mr. Barker in the gazebo. So Samantha like kind of freaks because she doesn't want to like ruin the thing for the account for Darrin and all that stuff. So she does something to Mr. Barker.
Yes. Turns Rex Barker into a dog. Also hilarious name choice.
It's a little on the nose.
It's a little on the nose.
On the wet little cold nose.
But I love it. I love that about this show. Like some things they hand to you, and some things you have to use your imagination a little bit for. And he turns into this little like long-haired terrier, and
so cute.
So cute. Darrin is like, how'd this guy get in? He was like, oh, he's just wandered in, been a nuisance all night or whatever. And he's like, Sam, what are you doing? You have a party to host. Like, put the thing down and get inside.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, to her credit, like, she tries to tell him immediately that this is Mr. Barker. And it's just that normal, like, sitcom thing of like, like, trying where the person can't get a word in, and but yeah, and so she's like, okay, all right, and then like everybody's leaving, and Babs is like one of the last people to leave, and she's like, I don't know where Rex got off to,
and it's hilarious because she goes, it's not the first time I've had to drive myself home. I'm used to it with Rex, implying that he leaves her at parties often.
Yeah.
And either like fully disappears, goes home with someone else, or like she just finds her way home.
Exactly.
And that's insane.
I think he has multiple problems.
Yeah.
One being alcohol. Yeah. She seems to put up with a lot.
She does put up with a lot.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so the dog version of Mr. Barker kind of like runs in. Samantha has him in her arms, and they're saying goodbye to Babs, and Babs is like, oh, what a cute dog, like, oh, I would love to take him home, like, if it's not your dog or whatever. And Sam, of course, is like, oh no, like, because she needs to turn it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Darren's like, oh, it's probably just a neighbor's dog. Like, we'll figure it out. Yeah. And so Babs leaves.
It's funny because Darrin does not give two hoots about this dog.
No, it doesn't seem like Darrin is a person who cares about animals too much.
Right?
Or like maybe not like doesn't like them, but just doesn't like give a thought to like that kind of thing, right?
Exactly, because he's like, oh, we'll just put him outside. He found his way in. He'll find his way out. Like,
yeah, because she's like, well, let me at least close the gate. And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care if this dog gets hit by a car or something. Yeah. Let's just let it find its own way. And she's very much like wanting to fix the mess that she started.
Exactly, because he puts the dog outside and shuts the glass doors, and the dog is immediately like barking and jumping, trying to get back inside.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe this is a me thing, but when I watch movies with any animals in them, I wonder a lot about like what the conditions were like for the animal at filming, especially like back in the day and during this time. And I feel like they treat him pretty well. They do manhandle the dog a little bit, like when they're like tossing him back and forth between Babs and Darrin and Samantha.
Especially hearing a little bit what Dick York does to the dog.
In the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, so he leaves the dog outside, and so they does a little cut, and then they're ready for bed, right? And Samantha's in this gorgeous nightgown, but it's like a robe. It's very ruffly, like all the way up to her neck, like it is, very, very modest. It's nothing crazy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and that's when Sam finally is able to tell Darrin that she turned Mr. Barker into a dog, right? The same one that he just put outside.
Mm-hmm.
And Darrin is pissed.
Yeah, he's pissed that she turned him into a dog, and she's trying to tell him, like, he trapped me in the garden and was making advances. I had to do something. And he's like, you call that something? This is a man who hears but does not listen.
Exactly.
Because she's trying to tell him, like, she was very uncomfortable and she did what she had to do. She would never, like, resort to this if she didn't have to.
And something that is interesting because I don't remember... The dog is back in at somehow.
Yeah, they're like macking in the bedroom, and the dog's barking a ton outside, and he's like, what's going on? So he goes out to try and get it to calm down.
Oh, yeah, and then he
instead runs
noses
up
his
to
way
the
in.
bedroom.
Yes, so he goes and finds Samantha and jumps on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so the framing of the scene is Darrin is standing beside the bed. The dog is on the bed, so it's in between him and Samantha. Samantha's on the right. And so they're kind of getting into this argument where she's literally saying, I was uncomfortable, he was a creep, and all that, and he is not taking it seriously, right? And basically is blaming Samantha for what happened.
She says, Barker practically attacked me, but that doesn't matter as long as you get him to sign with your agency. And Darren's like, well, what do you mean he attacked you? And she's like, he was very aggressive. Mm-hmm. And then Darren's like, you're exaggerating. And she's like, no, I'm not. And then he goes on to say, any common, ordinary wife would know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if this had happened to any common, ordinary wife, it would have ended dramatically. It would have gone very horribly for Samantha. But because she has this magic and is able to change the power dynamic and find a way out of the situation, it went the best it possibly could have.
Yeah, because also in that he literally, like the thing we see and have seen for so long, he literally blames her as well because of the way she's dressed.
Yes.
So talking about her, even in this modest nightgown and everything, he is saying, well, look at the way you're dressed right now. You're driving him crazy. Like talking about the dog. And he like covers the dog's eyes or whatever. And of course, this pisses her off even more, rightfully so, as it should. And then the quote that really is insane is Darrin says, you're just a wife, he's a livelihood.
Yeah, she's like, you care more about him. You're like so concerned about him. What about me? He's your wife, he's a livelihood.
Insane.
His priorities are so screwed up.
Yeah. And so even like, so she's like, get out of my room.
Yeah.
Grabs him a blanket, says, go sleep on the couch. I do not want to see you.
Like, you go, girl.
Again.
Yeah.
She goes in. But, and something that I noticed on this, when I watched it again last night, is that either way, like, during all this is very serious stuff, and especially Elizabeth Montgomery, like, she's acting like, because it's like a serious thing, even though the predicament like of turning him to a dog is whatever, but it made me feel uncomfortable with the laugh track or the live audience, whatever it is that is accompanying these things of the back and forth. And then of course they cut to the dog sometimes, like looking back and forth, and then the laugh track. And I was just like, this is like a really serious situation of her trying to get her husband to actually care that someone like basically assaulted her. And I was like, I do not like this laugh track.
You can tell that the production is trying to like control the tone of the episode, because it is a very serious topic. And I appreciate that they're showing it and going into it. And I, as a modern day viewer, feel like Darrin's acting ridiculous. And you can tell with the way she's kicking him out and reacting that it's also like we are meant to feel like he is disrespecting her, his wife, who he should trust, and he doesn't. And they're definitely adding like a lot of like comedic moments where the dog's like turning his head or something to try and lift the tone a little bit. And I don't know that it works.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And yeah, so I'm just like, ugh, no, I don't like it.
Yeah. And so he gets kicked out, and Endora pops in.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say, like, it makes me wonder too, like, because the writer of the last episode, was a woman. And I'm just wondering, like, how, or if it would be any different, like, if a woman, like a female, had written this episode versus Jerry Davis, who wrote this episode, right?
Yeah. I think the writing would be interesting to look at. I also think that the editing of it is where they're adding in the laugh tracks and doing all of that.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, it's still like William Asher's choice on a lot of these decisions, no matter who the writer is.
Yeah. So yeah, Darrin goes down the stairs because she kicked him out of the room, slammed the door in his face, and he has his hand over the dog's eyes so he can't, see Samantha in these clothes, like her nightgown, and like he has his hand on this dog's eyes, and finally by the time he gets down the stairs, like takes it off. I'm just like, that dog is so patient. These little actor dogs is so cute.
You could tell the dog kind of like shakes his head a little bit and like licks like he's a little perturbed.
Yeah, like what just happened?
Yeah. You wonder if they probably give the animals something to make them a little more relaxed.
Chill. Maybe. It was 1964, maybe.
I feel like they gotta, because that's a chill dog.
Yeah.
In every single scene.
Yeah. So, Darrin goes down there to sleep on the couch, and he puts Mr. Barker back outside. And then we go back to the bedroom, and Samantha's, upset, sitting on the bed, and in what are those things called? Like, can't think of words today. The little seating area,
like the nook
below the window sill.
Yeah, little window nook.
Yeah. So, Endora pops in, sitting, lounging on that with her legs like up against on the wall and everything, and looking fabulous as always. And of course she said, she pops in and she says, "Well, I told you so. Like that husband of yours, I knew he was going to screw up sooner or later, So we know that Endora is watching, right? She's like always watching, making sure Samantha's okay."
She says she talks about how much it made her laugh, and she says I almost split me bodice, and she's so funny. Like she succeeds in lifting it because she is talking about how ridiculous Darrin is acting and how he really messed up in this situation, and that is making me feel quicker to laugh at her reaction.
Yeah, so it's still, I find it so sweet that she either way, like always keeping an eye out on her daughter, especially since this is a new marriage, and she doesn't think it's going to work anyway.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I'm at it. I might as well incite my own revenge on this man who tried to touch my daughter. And she magically makes a cat appear downstairs.
Yes. So we hear a whole bunch, even more barking than usual of Mr. Barker being outside. Some like yelps, I guess, and then we start hearing some cat noises. And Samantha's like, "What is that? Like, what's going on?" And Dora just starts laughing, and she's like, "Oh, I might be a little kitty cat or something." And so Samantha goes to the window and looks outside. And she's like, "That's no cat. That's a mountain lion," and Dora's just loving it. So Dora basically sicked a giant cat on Mr. Barker to fuck him up.
Give him some lasting scars, because we learned that he won't remember anything in his dog form.
Yes, because that was when Samantha told Darrin that she turned Mr. Barker into a dog. He asked if he would remember any of it, and she says no.
Which I almost wish he would. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, so Sam is freaking out, and she's like, she starts putting like the robe back on or whatever, and Dora's like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "To save this drunk dog, because if anything happens to him, Darrin will never let me live it down, or never forgive me." So Sam goes outside to save Rex, and then also, of course, the other, like, the door, the gate was open, and so the cat chases Mr. Barker out the side gate, and he runs down the street, and then we just see like the dog and the cat running, right? And then we see Samantha running after the dog and the cat. It's so silly, like Tom and Jerry. Like, I don't even know, like they're just all running down the street. And then they end up in a random, like, city alley that was apparently close to their house in the suburbs.
Right? I wrote that down, too. Like, they're living in this suburban neighborhood. How close would they be to this alley in what looks like a cityscape?
With, like, fire escapes and everything. So they get into this alley, and the cat has chased the dog Mr. Barker onto a trash can, right? And the cat is like, I don't know how they did that, but that cat is trying to kill that dog.
She's trying to get at him.
Yeah, so like reaching up on the trash can, like all on, the two legs and everything, and that cat was mad. So then Sam like looks around, and she changes him back into human Mr. Barker, right? And he's just like, what happened, and he's like, he's got a scratch on his face and everything. And then what does Mr. Barker do when he discovers a scratch on his face?
He calls Samantha a little spitfire, and he says, "Scratch me again, see if I care." And she at this point is like, "Oh, you never give up, do you?"
So we know Mr. Barker likes it rough.
Yes, we know he's really into it.
Unfortunately. Yes. And then, of course, Samantha's like, what's she say? She's like, "You are impossible."
Yeah.
Like,
don't you ever give up or something.
Yeah. And so he's still on the trash can. And then in the back, when they're doing this, we kind of see a police car go by on the street, on the alley. At the end of the alley, then they back up, and then they turn down the thing, and Samantha sees it, and she's like, and so she turns him back into a dog, right? And then he jumps down off the trash can, and the cat chases him, and the police like stop her. And some more interesting things that made me mad happen.
Yeah, because they're very suspicious of her alone in her nightgown. And you got to think, like, the party itself was late. It probably ran a little late.
Yeah.
And then they had that whole argument, and they had some separation enough for Darrin to be able to fall asleep downstairs, because he doesn't hear her leaving. He also doesn't wake up at the sound of the barking and the cat fight and everything that's going on. So it's probably late into the night, well past midnight in the early hours. And they're very suspicious of her in this nightgown, this very modest nightgown.
Up to her chin, like insanely.
Right? God forbid a woman's alone by herself late at night.
Yeah, and so she tries to explain, oh my, because he ran off. She's like, "Oh, that's my dog. Like, my husband's really fond of him. I got to get him back." And they just keep saying, I wrote it down, they keep saying, "Don't get excited, Mrs. Stevens. like, you know, because she's a woman and she's
Yeah.
going to go into hysterics over this. But yeah, they say it like 3 or 4 times in this super
Telling her to
short
calm down.
scene. Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, we'll get your dog back. We'll get your dog back. And so they basically like manhandle her, like one police officer on one side, like on her arms, like putting her into the police car, basically.
Yeah. Once again, more men telling her what to prioritize.
Yeah.
They're like, you need to get home and get to bed. Look at what you're wearing. And she's like, no, I have this living thing I'm taking care of that I would like to get back. And they're like, we'll have the boys pick them up tomorrow. And you're like, how often does that actually happen?
Right.
That they actually find missing animals.
Yeah, because again, like, regardless of if it were her real dog or not, this is a human man, even if he's a piece of shit, that she turned into a dog. She needs to find him.
Yeah.
And turn him back.
Yeah. Like, not really, like, if not for like who he is, he obviously deserves to be locked up.
Yeah.
But he is an important account for Darrin still. And so the stakes are high also because she's like, this is important to Darrin.
Exactly. But yeah, so she walks into the front door, clearly had just been dropped off by the policeman. And Darrin's at the top of the stairs, awake, and he's like, where did you go? Like, what happened? You know, and she kind of explains that Mr. Barker ran off and all of that, and was chased by the cat. And yeah, so Darrin kind of tries to apologize in this scene as well. In
Maybe
his way.
by his standards.
Yeah.
He's like, I was pretty upset and I probably said a lot of things in the heat of the moment. You know what I mean. And she goes, yeah, I know what you mean. And he's like, oh, I knew you'd understand. Let me go grab my pillow. And she's like, that won't be necessary.
Yeah.
Because he still hasn't apologized, hasn't said, I believe you, like, hasn't taken any accountability and or made anything better. And yet he expects to just get to be able to lay next to her again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Night.
So then not so fast.
No.
And so, yeah, so then we cut to the next morning. Darrin leaves for work. And Samantha calls the police station to be like, have you found my dog?
Mm-hmm.
Good news, they have. And that it's at a local vet's office. Mm-hmm. And so she writes it down, you know, and she's on her way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we cut to a vet's office, and she's talking to the vet, and he's like, oh yeah, we gave him a trim and a tetanus shot, and all these things. And yeah, so for all of that, $27.
Right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time I take Mufasa, my cat, to the vet, it costs at least $100 for whatever we're doing, just for the visit itself. So I can't imagine the like cut and the shot.
Exactly.
$27?
And she's like, just bill me. I'm in a hurry. Because this is the morning that Mr. Barker, Larry, and Darrin are supposed to have the meeting to talk about, you know, the account.
To seal the deal.
Yeah.
To get the signature.
And so she's like in a hurry because, you know, she's the one that turned him into a dog. And she's like, I got to get it. So she's rushing the vet, and he's just like, what do you mean? Because she's like, he has a very important meeting. And he's like, meeting? She's like, please. So cute. But yeah, so, and what I thought too today was like, I'm glad for Mr. Barker's sake, even though it might be a better thing, but, cause there are instances of this happening, but like, what if the vet also like neutered him?
Oh, that's so true, actually.
And like, oh, well, we groomed him, gave him a tetanus shot, and we neutered him because we're having a bad issue with, you know, or something. Yeah, strays and all this stuff. And now that would have been a twist.
That would have been very different.
That would have been a twist.
That actually would have been an incredible change of events.
Yeah.
We should remake Bewitched.
Different show.
I would never say that.
That'd be a few years later. They would do something like that.
Yeah, I'm never going to say that they should remake Bewitched and specifically do that episode. And yes, but that's crazy.
So yeah, she gets the dog. We brings him out. It's clearly a different animal, right? This looks more like, or they gave this dog a poodle cut. Mm-hmm. Super cute, very trimmed, a little blue bow in his hair, very precious, and she's tickled pink because it's Mr. Barker, and she's like, oh, he looks wonderful, you know, and everything. So yeah, Sam takes dog Mr. Barker to McMahon and Tate, and
tosses him in a broom closet.
Yes, so they go in the janitor's closet. She puts him in there, and she turns him back. And she goes and waits for Darrin in his office, and then we see Darrin and Larry Tate in the conference room. They're like, you think he would have at least had the decency to like let us know he wasn't going to come. So they're pissed because they like seem they were like stood up for the meeting, and then all of a sudden the little intercom or whatever goes off, and it's like, Mr. Barker's here to see you, and your wife is in your office, Mr. Stevens. You know?
Yeah, he tells her he tells the secretary, whoever, to have Mr. Barker meet them in the conference room, and then tells her also to have Samantha wait in his office.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that becomes important later. So I wanted to mention that.
Yes. Thank you. So they get in there, and Mr. Barker walks in the office, and he's gone through some changes. He still has a scratch on his face, but now his hair is like coiffed and poofed and curled. And he has the blue ribbon that the dog had in its hair as well in his hair.
And his eyebrows are all fluffed up.
Yes.
And it makes you wonder what the rest of him might look like.
He says, so like they come in and they're like, do you feel okay? Because he's like acting weird, because he's like, I don't know what happened, I don't know how I got here, you know, and I don't know why my hair looks like this. And they're like, oh well, your hair, like, it looks nice. And he's like, you should see the rest of me, like like his chest hair, I guess. And he's like, he just says ruffles. And so we're meant to know that the rest of his body hair is all curled as well, right?
Yes.
Which is cute. But yeah, so he seems really out of it, and
he says he needs a pick-me-up. He's like, I need a drink or something. And
yeah, so before he leaves to go get this drink, because they're like, oh, it's in my office, like I have liquor in my office.
Yeah, Darrin's like, I'll make it for you. And he's like, no, I know where it is. And they're like, well, now hold up. Like, we're all meeting here to sign this account. And he says, yeah,
so Mr. Barker's like, no, I really need a drink. You have the account for sure. Like, I like Darrin, I just need to go get this drink, like kind of offhandedly, even though like it was such a big deal right before, but he's like, no, whatever, I don't care, like you got the account. And so Darrin and Larry are like, what is going on? Like they're perplexed with what happened, right? And so we see Samantha with a little glass of water sitting on the couch in Darrin's office, and then Mr. Barker comes in, doesn't see her, and pours himself a shot of gin or vodka.
Which immediately annoyed me because, Darrin, you know your wife is waiting in your office. Yeah. And you are sending this predator to go and be alone with her in your office. And I just don't understand how that could possibly slip his mind. But
he was just so excited that he got the account.
Yeah, his priorities are right where they should be.
He is a livelihood. She's just a wife.
Right.
He can get another one of those.
Yeah, he can get another wife. Like, he needs to not be poor and have a roof over his head.
Exactly. Yeah, so he comes in, makes a drink, and then Samantha sees him, and she's like, oh, hi there, Mr. Barker, you know. And he's, he's like, oh, like, I just came in to get a drink. Usually I drink it with carrot juice, and then I can see better at night, or something. And she's like, but yeah, so, and she's kind of like hints at it, you know, like, oh, your hair, like, you know, like, all that stuff. And yeah, so he immediately, again, turns into a creep.
And he goes to sit next to her, and she's like, oh, you won't stop, will you? And he just like scoots next to her, and he's getting closer and closer to her. And then finally, Darrin and Larry burst into the office, and we see just in the slight corner of the screen, like he looks like he's like nibbling on her ear or something.
Yeah, he's very close to Samantha on the couch.
And Darrin grabs him and he punches him. He's like, what are you doing? And Darrin's like, protecting my wife. And Larry's like, you didn't have to hit him. And then Darrin's like,
when somebody insults my wife, that's as diplomatic as I get. You all right, sweetheart?
Oh, I'm fine. But you didn't have to do that.
And so I'm like, oh, you just didn't believe her when she first told you this happened. Now that you're seeing it with your own eyes, now you believe her that this is real, and now you feel like she's been disrespected.
Yeah, so Darrin knocks him out. He is laid out on the floor.
Yeah.
And everything. So,
and he turns to her and he's like, you were telling the truth. Forgive me? Still not an apology.
Yeah.
Still not an I'm sorry. I didn't believe you and I should trust you. And I'm going to work on that. Just, you were telling the truth. Huh. Forgive me? I hated it.
Yeah. And then Darrin decides to quit.
Yeah, Larry's like, how are we going to do this now? What are we going to do about the account? What am I supposed to tell, the executives? And Darren's like, tell them I quit.
What am I going to tell the stockholders?
Tell him I quit. Come on, Darrin.
Well, what about him?
Why didn't you call the pound?
Whoa, we are really just going from one end of the spectrum to the other. To like, I don't believe you. This man's my livelihood. I have to do this for my job. To, oh my God, you're the only thing that's ever been important to me ever.
Exactly.
Forget this job.
Yeah, so maybe it was a thing of like, well, if I have to work with this man, that just did this to my wife, like, I quit. If I have to work with him. It's either me or him. Mm-hmm. Is maybe kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, so he walks out and then, if you know the show, you've seen the clips from the previous episodes, like they have Dick York's hair like gelled, super whatever and slicked and everything to the side, like not at a place at all. But usually if he does anything like this or anything, like it kind of falls a little bit. So after he punches Mr. Barker, it kind of goes in his face. But I was like, he looks really good with his hair like that.
With it a little messy.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah.
Instead of so put together, I guess, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is true. I feel like anyone looks a little bit better when they're a little more mussed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a different opinion from people, but I feel like having your hair slicked back or having yourself just right, it doesn't look as, natural. And I feel like most people look better when it's just a little, what is better? Most people look more like themselves when they're not so tightly put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sexy to look like yourself.
Of course.
Yeah, you know.
You know. So they walk out of his office, hand in hand, and then we cut back to the house, Samantha and Darrin's house, and there's the doorbell rings. Darrin answers the door, and who is it?
It's Rex.
It's Mr. Barker, and he just. What? Yeah. Like, what's the point?
Darrin's like, what are you doing here, bud? And he's like, I signed the deal, but I said I'd only do it if you were the account exec. And Darrin's like, why would I do that? And he's like, well, I live in Ohio, so it's not like I'm going to be around, Mm-hmm. And then
he invites them. Like, if you're ever around Dayton, Ohio, or what, like, come and visit us. And then Darrin's just like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he was like, yeah, probably not. And then says, oh, well, I can't help how I am. I have a problem. Most of my best friends have knocked me out a few times.
Yeah. He's like, which surprising that he would admit he has a problem.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a problem. But then it's like, oh, you've had a problem that no one has done anything about and let it go unchecked for so long that you just saying I have a problem fixes it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So even if you get turned into a dog and go on an adventure.
That's the thing. I was very frustrated that he wouldn't remember all of the ridiculous things that happened to him as a dog.
Yeah.
Because then he doesn't get to feel the trauma of getting chased down by this cat and getting a tetanus shot and the anxiety of being in a vet, which if anyone who has a pet, they know it's very anxiety inducing, and all of these awful things that he goes through as a dog, he doesn't actually get to feel the effects of. And I feel like from a writing standpoint, you want them to feel that you want them to go through something to give it a bit of a character arc. Not that I give two shits about his character arc.
Right.
Did we cuss on this podcast?
I've already said several things.
Not that I give two shits about his arc, his character arc, and him learning anything. But yeah, I was disappointed that as a dog, he doesn't remember any of that.
Yeah. But you know what he would have remembered? If the vet would have cut his balls off.
He wouldn't remember that.
Spay and neuter your pet, people.
Yes, do it.
Yes, so he leaves and Darren's like kind of happy. It all worked out. I got my job back, I guess. And Samantha's like happy about it too. And they embrace and, he's like, oh, let's go out to dinner and celebrate. And he's like, oh, I need my hat. It's over there by the couch, but they're closer to the TV. And he's like, let me grab it. And she's like, oh, don't you move. And so they're still embracing. She looks at the hat, does her nose twitch, and the hat comes floating across and lands on top of Darren's head. But of course, he gets upset because she used magic.
He's like, Samantha. And she's like, I know, no hocus pocus stuff. But the whole point was that she got to like hold him close and like keep him in her arms. Her priorities are right where they need to be.
Exactly.
And he needs to fix this.
And then the last line of the episode is sue me. It was worth it.
I love it.
About using the magic for the hat.
Yeah. So I know.
I mean, especially like because how much I love the previous episode. Mm-hmm. It's just like when you get to this one, it's just like yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's very different from the last couple. And I think in the end, like, yes, Rex is all the way in Ohio, and so they won't like have to interact with him at all moving forward. But the fact that Darrin would have any interest in supporting or representing a man like that does not age well.
Yeah. And but the thing too of like, I don't, regardless of Mr. Barker, like who cares what he learned, right? But like Darrin, like, yeah, you kind of apologize. Like either way, we need to know, and Samantha needs to know that if she says something, she's telling the truth and you need to trust her.
Yes.
Especially something as serious as this.
Yes. And if there's a problem that y'all are facing, you're facing it together. And
exactly.
It's not like, oh, well, you should have done this or it's your fault. Let's just not healthy.
And blame her for wearing like the
most layers I've ever seen in a nightgown.
1800s nightgown.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that episode wasn't my favorite, but it did feature one of my favorite actresses.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of Agnes.
She pops in, pops out.
Pops in, pops out.
I wish I could do that.
I wish she could pop into this episode.
More.
I mean, like, of our podcast.
Oh, like right here.
We CGI her into, like, just sitting here on top of the books. Wouldn't that be cute?
It would be.
Maybe she could be here in spirit. If we discuss her.
Yes.
Very specifically. Mayhaps we could just dive into her life.
Yeah. You get on that diving board and
a couple jumps.
Do a dive into the deep end, so one could say a deep dive.
Yes. A DD.
Yes. Yeah, so for this episode, I'm going to do a deep dive into the incomparable, the
engaging,
the amazing, exquisitely talented Agnes Moorehead, which is why I'm really excited about this episode, even though I didn't really like this episode of Bewitched. I'm very excited to be able to do a deep dive on her. She was like one of the things that I loved about the show the most when I was little, growing up watching it. So yeah.
I'm so excited to hear it because I've only seen 3 episodes so far, but she has been my favorite part of all 3 of them. So I can't wait to hear more about the actress herself.
Iconic.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. You're doing so good.
I'm doing great.
There better be some trivia in this episode.
Could you imagine?
Are you serious?
I'm not doing some trivia.
Please?
I'm not a loser.
What does a girl gotta do to play some trivia?
This isn't Jeopardy. Alrighty. So, Agnes Moorehead was born on December 6, 1900 in Clinton, Massachusetts. So she was a December baby, just like me. But I guess December 6th is earlier, so she would be a Sagittarius?
I believe so.
Not a Capricorn like me. I don't know anything about this stuff, so.
I think she would be a Sagittarius because my sister's birthday is around that time, if not December 6th. Hold on. I need to actually... I will be ripped to shreds if I don't say, that's my sister's birthday.
You don't remember your sister's birthday?
I don't. I wasn't alive for that.
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy. Actually, I don't even think I have it written down.
I guess she doesn't watch or listen to this podcast.
You know, she probably won't. So we can just move on. Where were we?
Yeah, so Agnes Moorehead was born on December 6, 1900 in Clinton, Massachusetts. Her parents were Mary Macaulay, and she was a former singer, and her dad's name was John Henderson Moorehead. And her dad was a Presbyterian clergyman. And her mother was only 17 when Agnes was born, which made me wonder, was he a clergyman within the church during this time? Because, like, how old were they when they got married? Because I don't think in the church it would be great if she was pregnant before they got married, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the legal age was back in the day because that was a very different time, 1900. Yeah. But
and then also, former singer, if she was only 17, when did she start singing? 3 years old?
That's true. In the church, she could have been singing in the church, I guess.
I guess. But then it would make everyone former singers.
That's true. I don't know. You did the research.
Anyway, you're distracting me.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Agnes also had a younger sister named Margaret Ann, but she went by Peggy. Agnes fell in love with acting at a young age and loved being on stage. She would participate, of course, like during church, when they would go on Sundays, from singing to reciting Lord's Prayer solo at age 3 in front of everybody. And then her mother was a really good influence and encouraged Agnes's vivid imagination. And so, like, her and Agnes and her sister would, like, when they would get home on Sundays or whatever, would put little performances together, kind of, and like mimic or not make fun of course, but like mimic some of the people in their church.
Like do impressions of them.
Impressions of them. So cute. So yeah, her mother like encouraged that and that creativity and her vivid imagination. And so she stayed religious her whole life and would always have her Bible on her. She also had like a whole like Bible collection that she left some people in her will. Like, yeah, she loved that. It was very important to her. She got her BS in biology from the Presbyterian Private College, Muskogum, in 1923. The college is in New Concord, Ohio, and she would participate in theater, of course, while she was there as well. The college also gave her an honorary doctorate in literature in 1947. Her family was living in St. Louis when they decided to move to Reedsburg, Wisconsin.
Get some good cheese in Wisconsin.
Must be nice. Agnes got a job teaching public school for 5 years in Soldiers Grove, Wisconsin, and during this time she went back to school and got a master's degree in English and public speaking from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Wow.
She likes school.
Yeah, it's an educated woman. I love this.
Could never be me. I was a terrible student. Could not get out of there quick enough, but I have a degree and that is good enough for me.
Cheers to that.
That is good enough for me. So then she decided to go to drama school and graduated with honors. But then after that, it was really tough for her to find work, and she often went hungry. She said it definitely, that time definitely taught her the value of $1, right?
All that education and she was hungry? She
Yeah.
couldn't get a job?
I think it said like the longest she went without food was 4 days.
Couldn't even... What?
Yeah. So she definitely knew the value of $1 and everything, but she eventually found radio. And this really, like, she just blossomed, right? That's really like her thing. So kind of like what we're doing right now. But yeah, like we already talked about before in the Elizabeth Montgomery deep dive, at this time, kind of before television really took off, radio shows and plays were really popular.
During Dick York's deep dive, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was, Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Yeah, all three, I guess because it's the time, but either way, all three of them have very large ties to radio production. But yeah, Agnes absolutely loved it. She lived and breathed this art form. And so she just immediately dived into it, and turns out she was really good at it. So of course, people loved her. She was able to do so many different voices and characterizations and accents. So she could play you need a woman for your show? There's Agnes. She can do everything. So even like the sound effects, screams, all of it. And because she was so good at it, she caught the attention of a certain incredible director named Orson Welles.
The Orson Welles?
Yes. And so before, he was the Orson Welles, he had something called the Orson Welles Mercury Players, which was his like radio play company. Group, and so they would put on a whole bunch of shows, and he wanted her on there, and she became one of the main cast members on that show. So they did so many different plays and everything, and they were so popular and everything. So yeah, she got really popular with them, and Orson absolutely loved her. So trivia time.
Oh my God, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
Let's give the people what they want.
Yes. Me, I'm the people.
All right. So, what Halloween episode of the Mercury Players sent the entire country into a panic?
Is there an ABC?
There is.
Thank God.
I was wondering if you had known, because this is an extremely famous event that happened in our country.
Okay.
And I had heard about it because Mama told me about it at one point as well. So, I'll give you some items to choose from. So A, the 39 Steps, B, the War of the Worlds, C, Abraham Lincoln, or D, Hell on Ice.
D, Hell on Ice. I
really thought this would be
I've never heard of this.
quick.
I've never heard of this.
It's fascinating.
You said the 29 steps.
The 39 Steps.
39 steps.
The War of the Worlds, Abraham Lincoln, or Hell on Ice.
Oh, nice. I know of a different play that was popular during this time where there's an ice age. The entire act takes place in an ice age. So that is making me wonder if it's Hell on Ice.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
please choose an answer.
I'm so
Time is
sorry.
running out.
I'm trying to think through it. I'm between War of the Worlds and Hell on Ice. So I'm just going to go with Hell on Ice because that was the first thing that stood out to me.
You're terrible at trivia.
So bad. What is it?
It is the War of the Worlds.
I was stuck. Okay.
So super famous.
Yeah, tell me
I
about
guess
it.
a lot of people, because I've already said I'm an elderly person, and that's okay on the inside. But of course I knew about it. It's super fascinating to me, especially with how quick some people are to believe things. Anyway, so Orson Welles' adaptation of The War of the Worlds, which of course was an H.G. Wells novel. Back in the day. Their version was broadcast on October 30th, 1938, and it was being recorded live and broadcast basically across the entire country thanks to CBS. And it was so convincing that people began to freak out and think that it was real. But anyway, yeah, it was really crazy. This was already long enough, so I didn't do like a full thing into it. But basically, even like the government got involved. And so they kind of tried just to stop it when people started to freak out, right, and complain and everything. But it was being recorded live, and they were like,
It caused a mass panic across America.
And so people were calling their operators and stuff because there wasn't 911 at the time, and they were like claiming that they were seeing spaceships outside, like all of like literal mass hysteria. And I think it was even a thing not at this point, but I read somewhere too, like even before it was like, hey, this is the Mercury Players, like this is Orson Welles, like this is the War of the Worlds, like, but maybe if people missed that front thing, because they said like they kind of started it as like a news broadcast kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if people missed that first thing of like, welcome to the Mercury Players. So if they started tuning in, like when it started with the fake newscast kind of thing, like, oh my gosh, there's spaceships in the sky, like kind of thing, then people thought it was real, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it got the attention of the government, everything. Orson Welles had to like talk to the government. It was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. So our beautiful Agnes was a part of that insanity. So it was a good thing, though, that this happened because it put Orson Welles and these incredible, talented people on Hollywood's radar as well. Mm-hmm. And they're like, wow, like if they can do that with just radio, what can these people do in the art of, the medium of film? Mm-hmm. And so RKO Pictures came calling, and they recruited Orson and like the entire team from the Mercury Players to make movies with them.
Whoa.
Yeah. So of course, like the first one is how we got what film?
War of the Worlds? They adapted it into a movie?
No, Madison.
Was it what Orson Welles is famous for?
Yes.
Yeah, the famous movie everyone knows. Say it with me now.
Citizen Kane.
I should have known that. I did study that.
So as most, a lot of people say, is still the best movie ever created. That was like Orson Welles' very first film with RKO. And who else starred alongside him in the movie?
Agnes Moorehead.
Agnes Moorehead. She sure did. So yeah, she was in a very important supporting role in that movie, and that was her film debut. And of course, like rave reviews, of course, because it's Citizen Kane, but she also got really good reviews. And so then in their next film that they all made together was called The Magnificent Ambersons, and that came out in 1942. It was also a very influential movie, especially at the time, but even today as well, because of his filmmaking techniques and the acting and everything. But like Agnes had an even bigger role in this movie, and that is where she was nominated for the very first time for an Academy Award.
Whoa.
In her second movie.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, second trivia time.
This one's gonna go better than the first one.
I don't think so. So, how many Oscar noms did Agnes Moorehead get in her career?
Ooh.
Is there any, like, number that's just calling to you, or would you like me to read the multiple choice?
How many? Okay, so initially my brain was like 8, but I have no idea. I'll go based off your multiple choice.
Okay. So I have A, 2, B, 4, C, 6, or D, 8.
Do I go with my gut like I did last time, or do I go kind of middle of the road?
You should always follow your heart.
Whoa, okay, that feels like a clue. Is it D8?
No.
I hate it here. Okay, what was it?
Yeah, so in her whole career, she was nominated for 4 Academy Awards.
Okay.
And she also, in her career, in terms of wins, she only won 1 Emmy and 2 Golden Globes, and she never won any of her Oscars. But she was nominated 4 times, so it's still a pretty big deal.
Okay. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
4 is a lot.
So after this, her film career really took off, and as they do, if you know anything about MGM wanted her. And so they came calling, and they offered her a $6,000 a week contract. She's like, okay, but like, can I please still continue to do my radio work? Because like, that is like my thing.
It's what feeds her soul.
Exactly. And they were like, usually we would say no, because some people don't know how to pick good work to basically to represent, like they don't want, like we talked about, well, like I talked about with Elizabeth Montgomery, is like with her dad, like they controlled everything. So they're like, well, we would usually say no because some people cannot pick projects that are good and make us look good. But because it's you and we know your track record and that is how we found you, basically, like, yes, you can continue to do your radio work. And that was like extremely unheard of at the time. That they put that in her contract. So she was like, okay, hell yeah. Like, she was super excited about that, and she's getting $6,000 a week. I wish I was getting $6,000 a week.
Whoa.
Right now, and that's in 2025.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Should have done the little inflation calculator. But yeah, I'm sure it's a lot more than 6,000 now.
We could do it right now.
So yeah, so they continued to let her do her radio work, and at this time, she did a lot of movies with MGM, mostly supporting roles, but they're still, memorable, and she kills in every performance. How much was it?
It's gonna be over $100,000 a week.
Nice.
Which is... Oh, that's a lot. That salary is crazy.
Okay, but I would still be totally happy with $6,000 a week.
Right?
Like, let's be honest. So she was doing really good work with MGM, but she also started to guest star on television at this time, kind of to get into that as well, because during the time, like late 40s and 50s, television became more and more popular. So like we've already talked about, she starred in an episode of The Twilight Zone, one of my favorite episodes ever. She doesn't say a word in the entire episode, and she kills. I mean, the level of acting with just her face, her body movements, like her reactions to the thing on screen, like, it's incredible. One of my favorite.
It's especially interesting knowing that she started in radio, where that's just her voice.
Exactly. So she didn't have any of that, right? Kind of done. So it makes me think too, like when she was acting just in front of a mic, where no one could see her except for her, other fellow actors, was she still doing the acting face work as well, I'm sure she did when she actually started to be in front of the camera, but it's really interesting, because like as an actor, like, can you really turn that stuff off? But yeah, so she was like, The Twilight Zone. She was on Rawhide and The Rifleman, two very popular westerns. Like we know Dick York was in some as well. But I grew up watching these as well, thanks to my father. But yeah, so, and eventually, because of all the success, this is around the time that, Bill and Elizabeth were looking around for people to be on Bewitched. And they immediately thought of Agnes, like she would be perfect for Mother, and Agnes turned it down. She's like, no, like, that's just, it's not going to last long. Like, I'm not committing to that, right? And then she was also like, it might be too much. Like, I have all this other work that I would like to do, all these other projects I want to do. So she said no. And so like a few weeks or months, I'm not sure like the timeline, go by. And then Elizabeth Montgomery is in Bloomingdale's and she hears this voice, right? And she immediately knows who it is because Agnes has an iconic voice. And of course, Elizabeth was a fan of her work. And she immediately hears it and she turns around, sees Agnes looking gorgeous. She still remembered, like I can put it somewhere, but like this is from an interview that Elizabeth did in the 90s where she remembers this moment in time, and she still remembered like what Agnes was wearing and everything. So cute. But yeah, so she remembers hearing her, and she goes up to her, and that's the first time they had met. And she's like, "Are you Miss Agnes Moorehead?" And she's like, "Of course. You know, who else would I be? You know?" And Elizabeth tells her, you know, how much of a fan she is and how much she loves her, and how she was really disappointed that she turned down, you know, a role like to be on their show.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, you know, like it's just not for me, you know. And so then Elizabeth is like, well, you know, like it would really mean a lot, like, you know, basically like trying to get on the show. And eventually Agnes agrees, right? And to be on the show. And so, because again, she was still thinking like, well, okay, well, it'll just be a short amount of time. Like, this sounds silly. Like, nobody's going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be on there, like, no time at all. And
I'll throw these folks a bone.
Yeah. And
give them my presence.
I can go back to do the thing. Cause that was the kind of thing too, like Elizabeth was like, you know, well, like, it'll be so much better, like with your quality, your talent, your prestige, you know, trying to like butter her up.
We can make this good.
Yes, so cute. Yeah. So, last trivia question.
Let's go. I'm going to get this one.
Okay. How many Emmys did Agnes get nominated for playing Andorra?
Hit me with that ABCD.
Okay.
I'm not going with my gut this time.
A1, B4, C6, D10.
I feel like it's either got to be 2 or 4. I'm going to go 4.
Well, 2 was not an option.
Oh, what were the options again?
1, 4, 6, 10.
1, 4, 6, 10? No way, it's only once. 6 seems like a lot. Because there's only 8 seasons, right? So she would have had to have been nominated 6 out of the 8 seasons.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with 4. Is it 4?
Nah. She was nominated for 6 Emmys.
I take it back. We don't have to do trivia anymore.
You wanted this, Madison.
I think it's fun for other people.
Yeah, so very highly nominated for her incredible work, of course. So yeah, by the 1970s, Agnes's health began to go downhill, began to deteriorate. And she was, one of her final things, she was in the 1973 version of Charlotte's Web. Did you ever watch the cartoon Charlotte's Web?
I didn't.
We had different childhoods. Like, I'm like, so, like, yeah. I'm old.
But we did both see The Tudors, so we have one thing in common.
That's true. So yeah, she was in the 1973 version of, so she was in Charlotte's Web, and of course, Paul Lynde, was also in Charlotte's Web, and would, you know, co-star on Bewitched. We'll see him later. And then, her friend, which it seems like they were really close, Debbie Reynolds, plays Charlotte.
Debbie.
Yeah. So, they were all in that together. So yeah. Also in that year, she was in, Gigi on Broadway. But unfortunately, she had to be replaced because she got too sick. And so they replaced her. And she passed away on April 30th, 1974 from uterine cancer. She was 73.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm not done.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now you're done.
So yeah, Agnes, unfortunately, she was a part of a really shitty club. You know, have you heard like the 27 Club, like those things like Amy Winehouse and like all these famous people died at 27, right?
Yeah.
Agnes's club was a lot worse because she was one of the cast members, which you hadn't even watched Charlotte's Web, so I'm sure you haven't heard of this.
No, what is it?
But yes, so she was one of the cast members on the John Wayne vehicle, the Conqueror, in 1956. So it was John Wayne played Genghis Khan.
Okay.
So, which was, I guess, he was Mongolian, like this Mongol.
Shouldn't be playing.
No.
White person should not be playing.
So they were all like in yellowface and like stuff, right? With accents. And it was a disaster of a film and everything. So, yeah. So they decide to film in Utah, which is fine. Beautiful Utah. But where they decided to film was an old atomic bomb test site.
Oh no.
Yes. And it makes me so mad because
they all got radiation poisoning?
They had to know. They knew the dangers of radiation at this time. And it's like, yes, let's let these people go and film this movie on this site, right? So literally like everybody who worked on this movie got cancer and died.
How could they have known? There must have been someone who was like, "Oh no, it's fine," or else they wouldn't have gone.
Hey, they must have got a really good deal on it. And,
cheap to rent for filming purposes.
So, whatever. But yeah, so it said, I think by 1980, it's something like People Magazine or something did like a study into it and was saying that, out of like the 220 cast members, 91 people were known, at least by 1980, to have all gotten cancer. And then like 41 of them had already died by that point. Right? And so like, yes, John Wayne, like all of like the main cast, like gone from cancer. So it really sucks. And it really pisses me off. That they had that happen. Because she could have lived a lot longer, probably.
Yeah, she was young.
Yeah.
In her 70s.
Yeah, so she was married twice, and her first marriage was to John Griffith Lee, and they were married in 1930, and they fostered a son together, and his name was Sean Lee. She divorced him in 1952 after walking in on him cheating on her.
That devil.
Isn't that nice?
How dare he?
Great things to walk in on. And she married her second husband, Robert Gist, in 1954, and they divorced.
They divorced?
They divorced?
Oh, your accent's coming out.
Shut up. She married her second husband, Robert Gist. Gist? G-I-S-T.
You get the gist.
Gist or Gist?
I would do what I did for the author where I said both.
Shh. Wow.
Pick one. Go for it.
She married her second husband, Robert Gist, in 1954, and they divorced in 1958, and they were both actors. He was an actor as well, too. So, yeah. And then a lot of people, like, I'm not going to talk about it that much, but there's kind of like the whole Mama Cass and died choking on a ham sandwich fake bullshit rumors that swirled and still stick to this day for some reason. There's also the rumor that Agnes was a lesbian, but she was not. Yes. So she was not. But also,
a great addition.
Apparently, it was Paul Lynde's fault. Her Bewitched co-star kind of made a joke on one of his stand-up specials, and kind of, said like, "Oh, Agnes, when she caught him cheating on her, she said, 'Well, if you can have a mistress, so can I.'" And people kind of ran with it, even though he was kidding. And we're like, oh my gosh, she's going to get a mistress. She's a lesbian. So, of course, like in all those tabloid, little fake, really bad little newspapers at the time, like that's all they could talk about. And it's still stuck with her to this day, even though we know it's not true.
Yeah.
Because again, like she had a lot of queer people around her on the set of Bewitched as well, like Paul Lynde and Maurice, who plays her, I guess. Were they married on the show? I don't know. But Samantha's dad on the show, like there's a lot of openly gay people on the show. But yeah, we know she was religious, and
I guess it was also frustrating that they were saying it in a bad way. They were were like saying it in a way that was bad instead of a way that today would have been very empowering, I feel like.
Yes, but the times and everything. So, but yeah, so, yeah. So other than that, like, I guess it said like there's some stuff about after she passed away, like kind of the breakdown of her estate and who got what, and somebody got her collection of Bibles, and she donated a lot of money to her different colleges and everything, and wanted scholarships. But she did not leave anything to this foster son, and I was like, oh. She didn't leave anything to poor Sean Lee. So I guess they didn't have a great relationship, or maybe it was just that. It was just a foster thing, and, you know, they were not in each other's lives. We don't really know that much about that, I guess. But either way, like, I'm telling you, it is so much, like, there's still so many things that I can't even touch upon because her career was so expansive. Her life was insane. She had, like, her family, like, her mom, like, they had a farm in Ohio that she was, like, helping run while she was on Bewitched. Like, imagine Agnes Moorehead on a farm, right? Is the most insane thing. But so funny. And then also, like, when she had gotten sick, she had to move back in with her mom. And her mom outlived her.
Wow.
By quite a bit. Her mom passed away in 1990 and lived to be about 106.
Whoa, a long life.
So she had to outlive her daughter, and yeah. But yeah, they all sounded like incredible people. And but yeah, if you want to know more, I found an incredible YouTube video called The Mysterious Life and Death of Agnes Moorehead. And it was posted by Cool Classics. But yeah, definitely go give his video some views. Definitely goes more in depth. He like was able to like go like in St. Louis and see her little star on their Walk of Fame because they lived there for a time. And but yeah, he definitely goes a little more in depth and everything. So very good video.
That's so cool
from him.
Yeah, check out our description if you're ever curious about where we got any of our information from. Please check the description. We link everything there so you too can do your research and take a look at what we found and read more into what we can't fit into our deep dive.
Yes. But yeah, she was an incredible woman.
Thank you so much for this deep dive. That was so exciting to get to learn more about her and her incredible life and her prolific career. And
yeah, you want to do episode 4 next time?
I would love to do episode 4 next time. Is that my turn to deep dive?
I don't know.
I guess it is. I guess it's gotta be. Are you excited?
No.
He loves it.
Yes, I'm excited. Episode 4 is a really good one, so I hope y'all are excited and you stick around and watch with us.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
So my wife's a witch.